Welcome to the Prosperous Empath Podcast, designed especially for empaths and highly sensitive entrepreneurs just like you who are committed to achieving holistic success. I'm your host, Catherine Wood, Master Certified Coach, author, mastermind leader, and founder of Unbounded Potential, a boutique coaching firm for empathic entrepreneurs. I'm on a mission to bring empathy back into the world of business. Each episode will focus on achieving more by doing less through leveraging empath-friendly leadership practices, boundaries, rituals, and systems, all the while continuing to care deeply about ourselves, others, and the world around us. If you are committed to joyful living and running a conscious business, but amassing wealth while doing so, proving that you can have both in a society that tells you can't, then you are in the right place. Join me here each week to find out how. Be sure to subscribe and leave a review so you won't miss an episode. Plus, you'll find all the show notes and helpful resources over at unbounded-potential.com. Hello. Welcome back to the Prosperous Empath. Kat here. I'm recording this episode bright and early on a Monday morning, and I am so delighted to be here with you all this morning because I just had the most magical weekend and a delightful start to my Monday morning. I celebrated the Lunar New Year with a group of girlfriends in Boston. One of them hosted a luncheon at her home and made all these traditional Korean dishes. And we pulled tarot cards, and I brought one of my favorite books by Louise Hay on numerology called Colors and Numbers, I believe. We'll drop it in the show notes. And it's a book that I read at the beginning of every year when I want to figure out what my intention for the year is or my word of the year. And based on your charts and your birth date and the universal year, it kind of recommends a mantra and an intention and kind of like this prognosis for the year. And I've been doing it for every year for the past decade. And I pull my number for my year, and I do the same for my best friend, Emily, and for my husband. And it's just been really fun and magical. And it's forecasted some very synchronistic and powerful moments in my life. And so I did that for everyone who came to the luncheon. And it was just super fun and just like intimate and connective. And I don't know about you all, but I find myself as I get older wanting to entertain so much more at home, be surrounded by friends and family in the comfort of my own home or their own homes. It feels so much less formal, less expensive, but also just so much more comfortable and at ease. I also spent the weekend just going on so many beach walks with the dogs and, of course, taking my daily plunges in the ocean with this beautiful community I'm a part of, and reading books. And last night I had dinner with my family and took one of the pups for a long walk with my mom. And it was just really delightful and slow and intentional. And I'm sharing all about my weekend because really, it is the embodiment of what I envisioned for 2023 when I claimed leisure as my word of the year last year. It felt a little frivolous to claim leisure as a word, especially given how much free time I already have in my schedule. I mean, as an entrepreneur and my own boss, I'm very intentional about designing my calendar, when I'm available for calls, when I'm not, when I'm available to respond to clients' support requests, when I'm not. I'm just super intentional. And so giving myself even more time to live leisurely felt a little uncomfortable. And I think that's often how it goes for me at the beginning of the year. I feel a little uncomfortable about my word of the year. I might resist it. I might not want to claim it. I also may not want to share it. But when I really think about the experience that I'm wanting to call into my life, the new expression of life I'm wanting to cultivate, the new habits, traditions, pastimes, ways in which I want to experience my day-to-day, it was really leisure for last year. I was really wanting to create more of an energetic divide for myself from when I was working and when I wasn't. And, I always say that we need to work to live rather than live to work. And so many of my ambitious audience members and clients, they are just so driven by their work motivations and their business goals. And we forget what it's all in service of. We forget that, the reason so many of us want to go into business is for the time freedom it allows us. And then when we become our own boss and we get sucked into the day-to-day of business, it's often the first thing that goes out the window, just this reminder or this knowing that we get to design our own schedule and that we get to let people know when we're available, when we're not, when we respond to email, when we don't, when we're available for calls and when we're not. And for me, I've been very boundaried around my schedule and when I'm available for other people and when I'm not. But energetically, last year I still was kind of experiencing this time creep or this work creep, where when I wasn't thinking or when I wasn't working, I was still thinking about work on the weekends. I was still thinking about what there was for me to do or what were my priorities or what was outstanding on my to-do list. And listen, as ambitious empaths, there's always going to be items outstanding on your list because you're always going to have 3, 5, 10 priorities or next goals that you're already ideating on for the next season of your life, your business, your home, your relationships, your health, etc. But we really need to be able to create this energetic break for ourselves, this energetic boundary where we turn off work, perhaps we close our laptop or close the door to our home office, and then allow ourselves to be and to leisure and to enjoy the beautiful lives that so many of my colleagues and clients have created for themselves. And I see so many of us struggling with this. I see so many of us struggling to give ourselves permission to truly enjoy, to truly be, to truly be present and relax and enjoy our leisure. So that was what 2023 was all about for me. And I really want you to know that it was something I brought so much intentionality to throughout the year. And fulfilled. I think I can say without a shadow of a doubt, like I declared and fulfilled on cultivating that experience for myself. And I know I've said this before, but I think sometimes when you're wanting to create a different energetic experience for yourself, sometimes shaking up your environment, which I know is a very privileged thing to say and not possible for many of us. But for those of us for who it is possible, or, perhaps you can't move to a new home, or perhaps you can't move to a new city or state or by the ocean like I was blessed to do this winter. But I'm sure there are ways you can cultivate temporary new environments for yourself, whether it's to get out of the city or to get to a park or to get to green, to get to nature, to get to a local city park. Just changing up your environment can really jumpstart your nervous system and activate your parasympathetic nervous system in a way that kind of keeping your head down and maintaining the status quo cannot. And, Parth and I moved to a small seaside town about an hour away from Boston for the winter, close to my family. And that move, it just created such an impetus for me. When you're surrounded by beauty, it's really challenging not to appreciate beauty and be reconnected with a deeper sense of gratitude for all that you have. And I have been present to that over and over again over the last year. All right. So, I always love to start with a recap of my word of the year from prior years and share how it went. And I recorded we'll drop the episode from last year in the show notes talking about I just shared some of my words of the year from the prior 5 or so years and some of the magical things that I created in those years in alignment with my word of the year. Now, on to this year. So this year was a little different for me. And you may recall last month that I recorded an episode with 2 of the members of my mastermind communities because they had both decided and declared their words of the year for 2024. And I hadn't. And something I'm really committed to as a coach and a community facilitator is to not only share the gems and the lessons learned, but also to put my process on loudspeaker because I notice so many of us coaches, like we just forget to share our process in which we landed on our aligned decisions and actions and revelations. And oftentimes the process is so much more valuable than the gem at the end of the tunnel. And so I had been struggling with my word of the year for 2024. It wasn't coming to me, and oftentimes it usually like just hits me like a sack of bricks. Like I always seem to start the year already clear on what my word of the year is, having already meditated on it or brought a lot of intention to what I wanted to cultivate. And that just was not the case for 2024. So I put out a call for support in my online private community with all my mastermind members and asked, I just asked for, hey, who already knows their word of the year and wants to come on the podcast, talk about your process to land on your word and help support me in landing on my own. And so I was so thrilled to be joined by the 2 Rebeccas. One of them is in my Unbounded Mastermind, another is in the Emerge Mastermind. And we just had a joyful conversation. I think something I really appreciate about working with empathpreneurs is that there's such values alignment that you don't really need to have a deep connection with one another or kind of background information around who you are. You can just kind of instantly create meaningful and deep connection. And that was totally my experience recording the episode with them last month. So we'll drop that episode in the show notes if you're wanting some more support or ideas or perspectives on how to either arrive at your word of the year or perhaps create a new one mid-year through, which we chatted about on that episode as well. But that brings me to my word of the year for 2024. Now, I want to say I've since figured out what my word of the year is for 2024. And I also just want to acknowledge that when I first landed on it, I didn't like it. It didn't feel like a word that was powerful enough or what I thought was aligned with what I was wanting to create more of. But then as life happens, we experience some different changes in our family and our own kind of lifestyle. And guys, just some personal information that I'm sure I'll be sharing about in a future episode. And it really started to provide some meaning and context for why this was truly meant to be my word of the year for 2024. So my word of the year is simplicity. And I'm not going to lie, it seems a little boring for me. I've had words in the past like leisure and prosperity and pleasure and spaciousness. And simplicity just feels a little simple. Truly, I mean, not going to lie. And honestly, I think that makes sense. I think that so often the experience that is meant for us is something that we initially resist. And so, of course, I resisted the experience of creating more simplicity in my life because it felt just that, too simplistic. But as I sat with it and I thought about, what would the experience of cultivating simplicity look like in different areas of my life, in my schedule, in my business, in my purchasing decisions, in my lifestyle, it really started to clarify and and really provide some very clear direction around some big changes that I've been seeing for myself for a while now in the business and had been resisting. So there's really 5 big things, big changes that I'm really seeing a call for more simplicity in my life in 2024. So I'm going to share them with you now. And then, like I do every year, we'll come back at the end of 2024 and we will see how I did. So the first one is re-empowering my schedule. Now, I chat about this a lot in my masterminds, and I'm going to record an episode on this soon with really how I design my schedule at length. But for now, what I want you to know is that as the CEO of my business, my schedule is on me. When I want to see clients, when I want to be available for discovery calls, when I want to respond to clients' requests for support, that is completely on me. And in the past, I've had such a time-intensive schedule. I've had such a large private practice. I think at one point I had 15 clients in my private practice and close to 20 in my masterminds. And it was just insane. It was way too much. And I realized that just because I could do something didn't mean that I should. So I have really cultivated and reinvented my schedule a lot over the past decade of being in business. And something I really noticed in the last year is that I have more spaciousness in my schedule than I ever have. And I noticed kind of this experience of this slight pull on my time because I had so much available time. I was making myself more available for work and people than was in alignment with my ideal schedule because I could. And because I had so much spacious time that I would, I'd kind of negotiate with myself. No, why not? I have nothing else to do. But the truth of the matter is that free time becomes absolutely essential for us as empath entrepreneurs as we scale and grow our business. Because as the visionary of our business, that means the vision is on us. And we actually need that quiet space. We need that free time in order to connect with our creativity, to connect with our vision. So what I realized is that I was giving away a lot more of my time than served me and ultimately served my clients. And I'm really re-empowering my schedule this year and coming back to the simplistic nature of who I want to be serving, how I want to be serving clients, and really what is the expression of me being of service to my clients that is the full expression of my gifts, that's the full expression of my joy, that lands squarely in my zone of genius, which brings me to the second thing that is a huge change in 2024. And it's something that I've been noodling on for a while and resisting, I'm not going to lie. And it's that I'm closing my private practice in 2025. I'm no longer accepting one-on-one clients into my practice, at least for now, at least in this iteration of my business. Because what I've realized is that I have 6 amazing coaches on my team who I trained with all of them more than a decade ago. They're amazing, certified, credentialed, highly trained coaches. And I'm really interested in filling their client practices because they are amazing coaches and individuals. And we share so much value alignment in how we approach our work as coaches in the world. And for me personally, I've realized that my heart is in my mastermind communities. I love cultivating community. I love the support and championing and accountability and calling forth that's kind of naturally ingrained when you belong to part of a mastermind community. So when you work one-on-one with a coach, there's definitely a deeper level of intimacy and connection and time available with your coach. But when you're in a mastermind, you not only benefit from the wisdom and the coaching and the support of your coach, but you also gain from all of the shared experience, the learnings, and the process of all of your mastermind peers. And I tend to attract just a super values aligned group of entrepreneurs to my practice and to my communities. And there's just so much joy that I gain from connecting like-minded creators and just kind of supporting those collaborations and partnerships and support and just that deep sense of belonging and acceptance and compassion that is available when you bring a group of people together who share the same values. So I am, just pivoting my personal time and energy and passion towards facilitating my two masterminds. And if you've had one of our masterminds on your horizon for you, I also I want you to tune into this part of the episode because there will be a couple invitations over the next couple months here to join us in one of our masterminds. And we will only be opening the doors for the Emerge once more in 2024. And we'll be opening the doors for our higher tier mastermind, the Unbounded Mastermind, just twice more through the end of 2024. So if you've been eyeing our masterminds and you've been really longing to join, I really want you to reach out and make your desires known and let myself or my co-coach Laura initiate a conversation with you to hear more about your vision and what you're looking to create. And we can support you in making the best decision for you. So our Emerge Mastermind is a 6-month mastermind for early entrepreneurs who identify as empathic and sensitive and are really finding their footing as the CEO of their business. They're working on clarifying their signature offers and designing their marketing and sales approaches and really finding their way in business and not wanting to do it alone and really craving community and accountability and ideas and the genius of others to support them in finding their way in the business world. We will be opening the doors for Emerge at the end of February, and we'll be launching that program at the end of March. So keep your eyes peeled if you're interested in Emerge, and please DM me over on Instagram or shoot me an email. I would love to start a conversation with you and share more and hear what you're up to in the world. And Unbounded is my signature mastermind. It's the mastermind that we launched back in 2019. And it is just a beautiful, ongoing mastermind for established empathpreneurs who are wanting to grow alongside established peers who share their values and are above the 6 or multi-6-figure level and are really looking to be supported in an intimate container with high-level coaching and with peers who have a similar foundation in some of the mindset work that many of us purpose and mission-oriented creators are committed to. So we will be reopening the doors to Unbounded to join us and jump on with us in April. There is an application system for both, and we are super committed to supporting you in finding the best path for you and really setting you up for success. Okay, so those are the first two big changes in alignment with simplicity in 2024. The third is something that it's a little sad, but I'm parting ways with my tech virtual assistant and social media team in 2024. Now, I have worked with my current team for a couple years now, and I've worked with multiple teams before that since launching my business in 2014. And what I realized is that a lot of my presence on social media recently has felt just off in some way. It felt a little bit more like an expectation or something I felt like I needed to be doing or should be doing. And what I was realizing is that pressure was coming more from this scarcity-based mindset that I had to do it because everyone was doing it and I had always done it for a decade. And I didn't want to be motivated by that intention anymore in business. I no longer wanted to be making choices based on what I had always done or what I had seen my peers doing when it just was no longer feeling aligned. And what I've noticed is that I don't really want to be on social media that much anymore. Now, sometimes I'll get off a mastermind call and I'll feel so inspired or I'll feel so deeply connected with one of my clients' wins that I'll want to share, not their wins without their consent, but just some of the takeaways or my own process as a coach. And in those moments, that's when I want to be on social media. That's when I want to share, when I feel deeply connected with my purpose and the intention and why I want to share it. But I am no longer available for posting on social media just because it's in alignment with my social media calendar or my social media plan. Because honestly, I am just so much more interested in connecting with you all this way via the podcast in a way that feels more authentic, more intimate. I feel like I am connecting on a deeper level with my community and my network here than really I have in quite some time on social media. So I decided that it was time to part ways with my tech VA and social media team, and we're wrapping up our work together right now. Actually, at the end of February, we'll part ways. And I will be limiting my presence moving forward on social media. I noticed that, I was just getting so many spam requests and so many cold pitches. And that's just not how I do business. It's not how I create connections. It's not where I want to be giving any of my time or energy to. And even engaging in the comments with people's responses to my posts, I notice I feel just less called to be present on someone else's social media platform where, to be honest, I don't share a lot of values with some of the creators of a lot of those social platforms. So moving forward, I am going to be less and less available on social media, and I'm going to be a lot more available and accessible on my own platform. And this is the fourth, I would say, huge change I'm making in 2024. And it's something that I've also been noodling on for a while. And I went through a process with my mastermind community to really get their feedback and their buy-in to make this change, because this is something that goes against what a lot of my mastermind members kind of invested into when they signed up for the masterminds. And that is that within our mastermind communities, we have a private community hosted on Mighty Networks, for those of you who may be familiar with Mighty Networks. And it's just a private space for all of my mastermind members. So that's past and present, alumni and present members, to connect and support one another, to share wins, to ask for feedback, to ask for support, and to do it in a way where there's kind of this, it's a safe space. There's no cold pitching in the DMs. It's a pitch-free environment to just be in community with other empathpreneurs. And we've had the community for the past several years now. And I noticed I just love being there. I love celebrating my members, past and present. I love seeing what they're up to. I love seeing them share what they're creating and how they're getting stopped and in their own way. And just seeing that that support and generosity of spirit that is so present amongst empathpreneurs. And so the fourth and final huge change that we're making in 2024 is that I'm going to be opening up our Mighty Networks platform to other values aligned empathpreneurs who are looking for community, perhaps considering joining us in one of our masterminds, or perhaps it's way above the level of investment or level of business that you're at right now, but you're still seeking a community where you feel a sense of belonging and safety. And we're opening our community up for vetted empathpreneurs who align with our community agreements and share our values to join us. Now, it's a big change. It's something I've wanted to make in the business, for probably the past, maybe the past 6 months. And, like we all notice, like change is uncomfortable. And sometimes we resist those big changes in our business that we know are in alignment with where we're headed or what we're wanting to create or cultivate more of. So stay tuned for that, because that is something we are going to be changing here over the next couple weeks. It may also be available by the time this podcast launches. That's really just going to depend on how fast we work through some of the back-end logistics and the vetting process. But this is going to be a great space for those who have tuned into the podcast and want to have a deeper connection with me and with my co-coach Laura, or who want to meet some of our mastermind members, or perhaps you're considering the mastermind and you're not ready to jump yet and you're wanting to kind of feel into our vibe a little more. This is a great way for you to do that. Or conversely, like maybe you've attended one of our non-networking power hours. We've been hosting them monthly for well over the past year, and we've met some amazing creators, and there've been some just beautiful collaborations made in that space over the past year. And now you can join us in Mighty Networks and continue collaborating over there in our private space that will be, advertisement free, algorithmic free of that targeted posting. And we'll have specific invitations to share what you're up to and to share your offers, but it will be in a very intentional and boundaried way, just like I do everything in business. So if that is something you're really wanting more of in 2024, I hope you will join us. I am really proud of my personal or my private community, and I'm thrilled to invite more values-aligned creators to join us in a super accessible and meaningful way. So let's just quickly recap. Word of the year for 2024, simplicity. The 4 main areas these are shifting in my business is re-empowering my ideal schedule. The second one is I'm closing down my private coaching practice, no longer accepting any new one-on-one clients. I will be referring them out to the amazing coaches on my team. And if you're interested in working with me, you can join us in our Emerge or Unbounded Masterminds, which we'll be opening the doors to here over the next 2 months. The third is that I'll be parting ways with my tech VA and my social media team and really limiting my presence and energy spent on social media. And the fourth and final is that we'll be opening up our private community for our mastermind that's been private and only available for our mastermind members for the past 3 years now, to the public, to values-aligned creators who are looking for an accessible way to be part of community and also get a deeper sense of my work in the world, and if you are wanting to join us. And then I guess just finally, just to put in, I've also been making some changes in my personal life in the area of simplicity. Now, I'm very minimalistic by nature. I like to have fewer clothes and personal mementos and things that are super meaningful to me and don't just take up space or create dust. And in 2024, this is looking a lot more like buying local for me, limiting how much I shop online, like really wanting to support local commerce, local business, looking at what I can discard, what I can donate, what I can sell, and really just creating more spaciousness in my environment, having a more simple aesthetic and design to be able to appreciate more fully all that I have and really what's the most important and meaningful for me. I hope you found this episode helpful. This was a deep dive into my word of the year for 2024. Thank you for tuning in. This was a super vulnerable conversation for me, and we're making some huge changes in the business this year. So I appreciate you for being here with me. If you found anything helpful or if any of our conversation resonated, I would love to hear from you, whether you want to join me in our private Mighty Network space and come connect and collaborate, or you want to DM me over on Instagram. That's probably where I'm most available these days. Please do so. I would love to connect and hear more about your takeaways from the episode. And if you're wanting an opportunity to connect and just come have an intimate experience with our Unbounded Mastermind community, I invite you to join us for our non-networking power hour. It is our monthly gathering with members of our mastermind community and other values-aligned creators to get a taste of our work and our community. And our next one is coming up here on Monday, March 11th at 12 noon Eastern Time. We'll drop the link in the show notes, and we'll see you next week. Thank you so much for listening today to this episode of the Prosperous Empath Podcast with me, Catherine Wood. Make sure you subscribe and leave a review so you don't miss an episode, and so more empaths just like you and me can find the show. As a thank you, each month, one lucky reviewer will receive a 60-minute coaching session with a member of our Unbounded Potential team. You can find all the show notes and bonus resources over at unbounded-potential.com. Thank you so much for listening and locking arms with me to bring empathy and prosperity back into the world of business.